Hello, I am Jennifer and I'm here today doing a quilt tutorial for Lorraine Fabrics. And Lorraine Fabrics does a monthly subscription. If you want to check that out, if you don't know about that, they have a Facebook page, and once you go to their Facebook page, you can order monthly subscriptions through their Google Docs. So for this month, for March, we are doing a tutorial called Dino Tracks. Now, Dino Tracks is a free pattern offered by the Paintbrush Studios website. So I just went down and printed that from their website. And for the month of March, the subscription that we received was a Fat Eighth bundle of the Lush line. So the Lush line offers a variety of colors, and they're more geared towards tiger. They got some very bright blues, greens, and pinks. And so here's the completed quilt behind me that we'll do the tutorial today for. So this quilt is actually made up of it's pretty much one block, even though there is a block A and block B. So here, block A, and you can see this is right there in the quilt. And then block B is pretty much the same. It's just turned going the opposite way. So then block B is over here on this side. So I will go ahead and go through how to make these blocks. Okay, so to make our first block, we first need to cut our fabric. So let's go over the cutting requirements from the pattern for our material. And first thing is you're going to grab your Fat Eighth bundle, pick 12 of your favorite ones, and cut from each one of those 12 one 6.5 square and one 7.5 inch square. So once you have those cut out, we're going to go grab our background fabric, which can be white. That's what came with the monthly subscription, is if that is what you purchased. And if not, you can use whatever background you want. But that's going to be a lot of cutting. We're going to need 12 6.5 inch squares, 12 4 by 11 rectangle, 12 4 inch squares, 33 2 1/4 by 16 1/4 rectangle, 8 2 1/4 by 14.5, and then 12 2 1/4 by 11. So that's going to be all in the white. And then you're going to pick, with your subscription, you would have gotten the Fat Eighth bundle and also some extra fabrics in there. They could have been any of these prints, if you can see those. So you want to pick one that will be your corners. So this block creates a secondary little pattern with the sashing and the corners. So you want to pick one of your extra fabrics. It'll need to be about a 1 yard piece for these little triangles. And you're going to cut 48 4 inch squares for that corner. Next, you're going to get one piece of one of your extra fabrics as well for the binding on the side. And then you should have a total of 4 yards in one of your prints, and that will be your backing. On this one, we have that jungle print. It is with the tigers on it. So leave that one for the backing. The other thing I need to go back, I think I forgot, out of one of your Fat Eighths, you'll also need to cut 6 2.5 inch squares, and that's going to be for the sashing, these sashing squares right up here. All those that go right in the middle there. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so you're going to pick one of those to cut the 2.5 inch squares. So that should be all of our cutting. So once we get that done, we're ready to put the block together. So here is all of the pieces cut out. All right, let's get started with the next step. Okay, and just as a reminder, we do have the free pattern Dino Tracks linked below in the description in case I'm going too fast. If you guys want to print it out so you have it in front of you, because there are a lot of measurements and a lot of cutting. So just a reminder that it will be linked below. So we are going to work on making block A. Again, this is block A. So in order to make this block, we are going to grab 7.5 inch square of one of the patterns from the Fat Eighth, and it's matching 6.5 inch square. You also want to grab a 6.5 inch square that you cut out from your background. And what we're going to do is put that background 6.5 inch square on top of our patterned 6.5 inch square. And we are going to line them up. We are going to sew around on all 4 sides, and we're going to make 4 half square triangles out of that. So let's do that now. All right, so we have our right sides together on our square, and we're going to go ahead and stitch 1/4 inch around all 4 sides. Let me line them up here. Okay, so we're gonna go pivot down this other side. I'm a little shaky because I'm on a folding table, and we're gonna pivot again. I'm just keeping a 1/4 inch seam, and I can put this down and pivot one more time. Okay. Okay, now that our square is sewn on all 4 edges, we will line our ruler up across diagonally, and we will make a cut diagonally across, and then we will come from the other corner to corner, lining up our ruler, and then make that cut, giving us 4, oh, that one didn't cut all the way, 4 half square triangles. So then we'll come over here to the ironing. Now that we're here on the ironing side, we're gonna flip these open, and I always lay it down with the white on the bottom and then flip up. And then we're going to iron each one of these. All right, so we're gonna square these up. We're gonna make that diagonal line go right across that seam, our diagonal seam. And we're doing our 4 inch square. So I'll have to cut on both sides here. All right, so we'll get those cut, and then we'll do this side. Oops. Okay, so then we'll continue to do that to all 4. Now that we have our 4 half square triangles, we're going to lay them out to get the layout of the block. Now the white side's going to go towards the top. Here's our 7.5 inch square. And on this side, the print's going to go up. Then we have our 4 inch background square, our 2 1/4 by 11. Actually, this one goes up this side. And then this is our 4 by 11. Now we're going to sew this all together. So first we'll start by sewing this one and this one together. So I'll flip this one over right on top. I'll line up these edges and sew down. Let's do that now. Okay, and then next we'll sew this one and this one and sew down that edge. Let's do that next. Oh, let's see, my string got caught. All right, and then we'll open this one up. Next, we'll sew this square on top of this one along this edge. Now, this section is complete. So next we'll sew this row we have to the square. So we'll flip this one down and sew across that top edge. Okay, our next step is to sew this row onto this piece, and we're gonna flip this over along that edge and sew down. Okay, remember when we're sewing along this edge, we do want to line up this seam with this seam so that they follow through when we open them up. So we'll just line those seams up, and I like to pin that and then take it to the machine to sew. And then we'll grab that pin out. All right. So then this is what we have so far. Now, we need to go ahead and sew this strip down this side, and then this strip down this side. Now we have those two sides sewn on. And the next step we're going to do is take our 6 1/4 by 2 1/4 inch strip, and one for the top and the bottom, and we're going to flip those over onto our block and sew along those. All right, here is our completed block sewn together. The next step is the corners. So we're going to grab our 4-inch squares that we cut already, and we're going to flip them upside down, and each corner you'll add one. And first we will take a ruler and line up corner to corner, draw a line, and we're going to sew across that line. That way when we flip it open and iron it, we'll have the corners all blue. So do that to all 4 corners. Okay, this is completed block A. So for block B, it's going to be the same, very much the same, except it's just going to face the other direction. So let's lay out block B. Here is your middle 7.5 inch square. Here are your half square triangles already completed and made. And then we have our background 4-inch square. Then we have our 2 1/4 by 11 and our 4" by 11. Then we have, thank you, baby, our 6 1/2, or our, careful, this is hot. Emilio is making his appearance backstage. All right, oh, and then we have that top piece, sorry, and the bottom piece. And then we'll be doing that, once this is all sewn together, we'll be doing that same technique on the corners where you draw the line. So that will be block B. And block B is now complete. So to make a row, you're gonna start with block B on this end, and then block A, and then block B again. You wanna be sure to sew in between your sashing strips and then on top your sashing strips. As you can see on the quilt, that top sashing strip, you're gonna put your cornerstones in. And you're gonna do that for 4 rows. All right, so here is our completed row where we have our alternating blocks, block B, block A, block B. So these are sashing strips that are sewn on first, and those are 2 1/2 by 14 1/4. No, sorry, 2 1/4 by 14 1/2. And then you'll sew those on both sides of that middle block, and that completes our row. We'll have 3 blocks in 1 row. And then you're going to do your top sashing, which I sew this whole line together first. Here's an example. And then what I do is I will flip it over and I will line up these seams and pin them. That way, those all come out straight. And then as I have all those pinned down, I will go ahead and sew across this whole line here and then it'll add this sashing strip on the top. Okay, so you just do that for 4 rows, which completes the quilt top. Okay, so just a reminder on the rows you're making, just keep in mind to alternate those blocks. So block A, block B, block A, then the next row is going to be block B, block A, block B. So just keep an eye on that alternating block pattern. And that is all to making the quilt top. Now, if you do like these fabrics and you would like to order, check out the Facebook page for Lorraine Fabrics. They might not have exactly what I've shown today, but they will have a lot available. And this is the Lush line if you're interested in these prints. The background is just a porcelain, I think it might be, or a bright white, which they should probably have still available as well. So check them out and keep an eye out for another tutorial that should come out in March that I'll have that will go over how to do the binding on the quilt, which is the outer edging, and also the sandwiching, which is when you take your quilt top and then you put your batting in the middle and then you put your backing on. So hopefully in March I'll have a video to go over the binding and the sandwiching. And that is all. Thank you guys. Now Marissa, say goodbye. My videographer, Marissa. Emilio, come say goodbye. Yeah. And we start Emilio. Come here. You want to come? Okay. He doesn't want to come now. Yeah. All right. Until next time. Bye, guys. Thank you.